Okay. Okay, let's see. We gotta do the usual checks. Whew. Um. Ah! Now we're live. Now we are live, and I got an ad on my own stream. I'm making that money. Making that money. Okay. Don't download that app. I don't know what this dude's saying. Okay. While that's doing that, let me turn off the Wi-Fi. Let me plug in my phone. You guys should be proud of me. You guys should be proud of me. I actually plugged in and charged my headset today. And yeah, so no headset dying in the middle of the stream like last stream. Just yeah. I'm sorry that last stream was so scuffed. I'm sorry that y'all are getting a lot of forehead action right now. My hair is way too long. It's getting in my eyes. So I have to go. I have to like go like this for now. This isn't even a face cam anymore. New name, official new name, forehead cam. It's not even a forehead. It's a five head. That's it. That's the five head cam right here. But yeah, today we are going to be ranking some stuff. Can y'all hear me good? Yeah, y'all should be able to hear me good. We're ranking things, these thingamabobbers right here. I'm gonna go over the rules. The rules real quick. What are the rules I'm going by? And yeah. So first things first. I'm gonna get something out of the way. It's pretty obvious, but in case you can't tell at this point, I am a FNAF fan. I love this franchise. This is one of my favorite franchises ever, and that should be, pretty obvious considering my YouTube videos. But still, yeah. So that means there's probably going to be a lot of S tiers. I'm willing to bet that there's going to be a lot of S tiers because this is going to have my full bias just smeared everywhere with this list. Just all the biases just all the time. And yeah. So, I'm ranking all FNAF media, so that means all the like mainline games, none of the troll games though. The movie, of course. The books, I'm ranking all each just randomly turn off. I have to always keep them, like I always have to turn them on. But yeah, so I'll be ranking each of the Silver Eyes trilogy novels, but the Tales from the Pizzaplex and Fazbear Frights, those are just going to be ranked all of those stories just as one single ranking because there's way too much of those damn stories. I am not reading all of those stories, no matter how big of a FNAF fan I am. Like, come on, man, come on. Half of them don't even got FNAF characters in them. It's I don't know. Okay, we'll get to that when we get to that. But also, I have them in order of which they released. I'm pretty sure this is the right order. I may have gotten one or two wrong, but it's whatever. So we're gonna be going by this order all the way up to the Help Wanted 2. So yeah, yeah. 1 second before we do start though. Before we start, I am going to go get my coffee. I made some coffee. I'm gonna go get that. I got the coffee. I got the coffee. Let me set it down. Let me not spill it everywhere. Ooh. There we go. How should I do my hair? I don't know how the fuck to do it. I don't know. I don't like having this much for. It's whatever. Who cares? Let's see. 8 people watching. Damn. Tyler, FNAF fan, what's up? Scar Fox, how's it going? FNAF fanboy 69. In my opinion, Help Wanted 2 was not good. I am sorry. That. Oof. I don't know. That I'm sorry to hear that, man. I feel bad. I feel bad for like people who didn't like if there's like one game that releases and you don't like it, it's like, yeah, I get that. That makes sense. I can understand. But if there's something like if like I've seen some people were mad about the FNAF movie and it's just like, man, to be like a big fan of the franchise, but then for it to release something that you're not into, it just must be like sort of I guess like hurtful in some way. I don't know. Ah, god damn it. I already spilt my coffee. Okay, here we go. Let's begin. Okay, so starting off with FNAF 1. FNAF 1. Where does FNAF 1 go? I think it is not B tier. I think obviously it should go in haven't played because I've never played FNAF 1. Never in my entire life have I played FNAF 1. I'm just kidding. Of course I've played FNAF 1. I actually have beaten 420 mode. I've beaten 420 mode on I have it as like my Xbox one of the Xbox achievements because I beat it on Xbox. And yeah, S tier. S tier because it started all. It literally it's the first one. It's like the most classic out of them all. Without this one, the rest of them wouldn't be here at all. Also, one more thing before we continue ranking them. I won't just be ranking the gameplay. I'll be like also putting into mind like the lore, the story, the characters, my personal experience with them. Definitely, I will have a whole lot of bias everywhere in this list. Come on, man, because come on, well, if it doesn't have bias, if the list does not have bias, then it's just like, what's the point of making the list anyways? It's almost impossible to not have bias account for something, you know. But yeah, FNAF 1 is a classic. You think of the words Five Nights at Freddy's, literally first thing that pops up in everybody's mind is this bear right here, specifically this original Freddy. And it's just yeah, it's some shit. So, with that in mind, S tier, yes, I agree. Now the FNAF movie was amazing. Yes, the FNAF movie was so fucking good. We'll get to that later. Okay. But yeah, so FNAF 1, I think a pretty obvious S tier. If not S tier, then at least A tier at the very least, but I'm thinking S tier. Um yeah. FNAF 2. FNAF 2. FNAF 2. The thing is with FNAF 2, for me, FNAF 2 is the most nostalgic. I remember being a little kid watching the Minecraft Five Nights at Freddy's stuff and the Gmod FNAF stuff because I remember I was too scared to watch like the actual gameplay of the actual game, so I just watch like Gmod and Minecraft versions of it. And for some reason, FNAF 2 is like the most nostalgic to me. I don't know why. It just is. The atmosphere is just perfect in this one. I don't know what it is about this atmosphere, but it just nails it so fucking much. In terms of lore, the lore is like amazing in this game. Like literally, like we literally get introduced to Purple Guy in this one. I mean, the first one, for the first FNAF had a poster that said like kids went missing, but I don't think there was anything about specifically William Afton. So, I think that FNAF 2, that's I think I don't know. It's in terms of lore is FNAF 2 is really whenever FNAF gained it, whenever FNAF first gained their reputation of like being the very vague, you gotta find the story out yourself type deal. And I think because of that, I mean, the gameplay, okay, I didn't even speak about the gameplay yet. The gameplay, not really my favorite. I feel like the cameras are sort of underutilized. I feel like it could have been a little bit improved in terms of gameplay, but that is like the only thing I don't really like about it. Everything else is really good about FNAF 2. I think it is well deserving of A tier. I feel like that's what I think. And also, I'm very nostalgic towards FNAF 2. I recently downloaded the mobile FNAF 2, or I bought it like maybe a month ago, maybe actually maybe a bit less than that. And it was just like holy shit. It was like it was like oh my god, I remember all these things. It was cool. It was cool. Um yeah. FNAF 2 is a lot easier in VR. It was. It was. I think it's because you could the fuck it was the music box. The music box you could just like constantly be winding no matter what camera you were on and stuff. And yeah, I did enjoy it in VR as well. Yeah. FNAF 2 was nostalgic for me. I used to play the demo on my Samsung cuz I was a small kid. Hey, you had more balls than I did when I was a small kid. When I was a small kid, I was like too scared to touch it or something like that. Um yeah. Uh hold on, let's see. 5 viewers. Thank you guys for being in the stream. I streamed earlier tonight than last night because all my stuff was charged and I was prepared and I was like, you know what? Fuck it, I'm doing it right now. Right here, right now. FNAF 2 is a personal favorite. Yes, definitely so. Okay, FNAF 3. FNAF 3. FNAF 3 does some things amazingly well, and then other things it doesn't do that good. Like some things were like the best this series has ever been, and then other things were like terrible. The thing is with FNAF 3, I really like Springtrap, of course. Springtrap, he's like the face of FNAF 3. He is such a good villain that literally anytime it's like anytime I remember like anytime people want to doing that, maybe I need to change a setting or something. But yeah, I'm just yeah, every time my headset kept on turning off a lot during my Help Wanted 2 streams, not stream, my recordings, but I would just have to edit out the part where it like turned off accidentally. But yeah, it just does that. I don't know why. I need to learn how to fix it. But yeah. FNAF 3, as I was saying, sorry about that. As I was saying, Springtrap's such a good villain that anytime people want something FNAF, like a FNAF crossover with a game like Dead by Daylight or something, they're always saying they want the villain to be Springtrap because he's just that badass of a villain. He's like, when you think of the main antagonist of FNAF, you don't think Freddy Fazbear, you think fucking Springtrap. And I think that in and of itself should be deserving of a high ranking, but also the focus on Springtrap in this game also served as a bit of a downfall for some other elements. Like, of course, we have the Phantom animatronics, which is a cool premise. I like that they're not really like the main focus. I like that it's just sort of, well, leave Springtrap to be the head guy, and the Phantoms are just kind of there. On some hand, like on one hand, that's cool, because it gives more emphasis on Springtrap. But on the other hand, it's just like, come on now, come on. Those animatronics aren't even that good. They're just reskins. But I mean, I guess if they are like Phantoms or if they are like inside of Michael Afton's mind, the Phantom animatronics, then I can see why they're reskins. In terms of lore, we get the fucking spring lock scene. That was some shit. I don't know. I don't think I ever fully beat FNAF 3 in like all the modes, but I do remember getting the spring lock scene. I do remember seeing the spring lock scene for myself again on Xbox, not on like laptop or phone, just on Xbox. I think FNAF 2, like as far as I personally ever got, was to Night 4, and that was a couple years ago. It's been a bit since I played FNAF 2 on console. Um, but yeah, FNAF 3, it has some lows, but the highs are really good highs. So I'm thinking either A or B tier. I think A tier. I feel like the lore and just the story with FNAF 3 makes up for the sort of lackluster stuff. Like the jump scare, that wasn't that good. I get why Scott Cawthon made the jump scare slow and like more farther away. Just because of how detailed the Springtrap design is, maybe he like wanted us to get a better look at him. But at the same time, like, come on, man. Like, it wasn't that scary. Um, but, you know, at the end of the day, I never really thought of horror as much of a thing in this whole franchise. In this franchise as a whole, whenever you play enough FNAF, you get to a point where Freddy Fazbear, he's just a good buddy of yours, and he's not scary, he's not threatening. You don't see Freddy Fazbear and go shiver me timbers. You see him, you're like, oh shit, I know that guy. No, who was actually scared during the Five Nights at Freddy's movie? I love that movie, and it was not scary. Freddy Fazbear was not threatening because it's not because of like, oh, it's a bear and it's the reason why. Sorry, I'm stuttering a lot. The reason why is just because of how iconic he is, how iconic all these characters are. At this point, the creep factor is practically gone for all of them, I'd say. VR, for the FNAF VR and FNAF VR 2, that's a bit different. I'll go into that later. But when it comes to FNAF 3's jump scares not being that scary, you can argue that at some point all the jump scares don't really become scary. So it's not too big of a deal. I'm thinking A tier is good as long as it's still behind FNAF 2. I think that's good. Which means we should move on to FNAF 4. But before that, you guys are commenting a little bit. I got the first two on my tablet when I was young. Yeah, we all have some good memories with those. I don't know. I was too scared to play the old to play them for myself. I remember I'd play them like on my friend's phone. They'd have them download. I was too scared to get them for myself. Yeah, I remember getting the demo on my phone and I beat the whole game in VR. Oh, for FNAF 3? Wait, at least he made the jump scares better in Ultimate Custom Night. Yeah, I mean, Ultimate Custom Night, it was like a bunch of like PNGs sort of, but I feel like if you are going to do that sort of jump scares in any of the games, it makes sense for Ultimate Custom Night. Yeah, FNAF 3 was fine. Yeah, I think we can all sort of agree. Like, it wasn't bad, but there were some couple issues. I had the demo of FNAF 2, 3, 4 on my phone. As a small kid, I played it, all of them except FNAF 4. I did not like FNAF 4. Which is a good transition to FNAF 4. Five Nights at Freddy's 4. I never really cared much for FNAF 4 up until I played it and I live streamed it last November. And that was a lot of fun. That was so much fun. It honestly changed what I thought of FNAF 4. Up until then, I never really cared much for FNAF 4 either, but whenever I like went out of my way to play like all of it, except for the nightmare, like the final nightmare night. But like, come on, I'll get it done eventually. I'll finish that night eventually. But the thing is though, yeah, last November I live streamed FNAF 4, and it was a lot of fun, and I really enjoyed my time with it. That stream gave me a lot of respect for the gameplay of FNAF 4, and up until then, like before then, uh, up in oh shit, what am I trying? Okay, and but before the gameplay, like considering the lore and the impact of FNAF 4, FNAF 4 has like a lot of lore to it. To this day, people still can't solve FNAF 4. People still don't know whether the nightmares were like uh what were those called? Illusion discs, nightmare gas, or whether they were just legitimate fucking robots or if they were nightmares. There's literally no telling. My personal thoughts on FNAF 4 is because of course you have the big climax of FNAF 4 is like the bite of 83. The bite of 83 is like so iconic that to this day characters are still being affected by it. To this day, you still have Security Breach releasing and having story parallels to the bite of 83 when it comes to like characters like Gregory and stuff. You have Cassie's dad, which originated in the bite of 83. The whole story of Cassie and Cassie's dad would not have happened if it wasn't for the bite of 83, because if the reason Bonnie Mask, the Bonnie bully, got a job at Fazbear Entertainment was because of like the trauma he had in the bite of 83, and then after that he was like, you know what, I need to fix these animatronics. I've seen how one of them can take the life of a kid because of their hardware being messed up because of the jaw closing and all that. So I need to make sure that never happens again. And he becomes an engineer, and I think that's a cool story. And it's just like all these different stories, all these plot points wouldn't have happened without the bite of 83 inside of FNAF 4. Some of us like we can, some can argue that the bite of 83 is what convinced William Afton to kill. I know like it's still up in the air which event came first, Charlie's death or the crying child's death. But personally, what I think and what I like presume at the moment is that the bite of 83, since it was accidental, and since there you don't really need any events to happen beforehand for that event to happen, what if that was first and then from there, uh shit, boy, I fucking lost my train of thought. Thank you, headphones, for turning off and making me lose my thought. What was I saying? Okay, yeah. And then, like, what if the bite of 83 happened and that caused William Afton to be, like, jealous of Henry? Like, oh, you still have your daughter, but my son's dead, and you're, look at you all happy with your daughter. That's bullshit. I'm gonna go kill your daughter. And so he does that. Uh, and then that's when he realized that he likes killing, and that the missing children's incident happens, and also Elizabeth Afton dies. And I feel like that is what I personally think, that's like my personal timeline on which events happened where. And so if you look at it through that perspective, the bite of 83 essentially started everything. That was like the first plot in the game. Like that was like the first thing like ever. And I completely forgot FNAF 2 has the bite of 87. Yeah, I forgot about that. But no, yeah. So FNAF 4, because I grew to like the gameplay after a stream, and because the lore has like such nuance to it, I'm thinking it's an S tier. Personally, I think FNAF 4 is an S tier. It can be a bit repetitive, but I feel like all FNAF games can kind of be a little bit repetitive. I don't think it's enough to move it down to A tier, you know? So I think it's not as good as the first FNAF. First FNAF still is like the top S tier, but it's still deserving of S tier. I feel like that's what I think. Matt Pat might be onto something with the theory. Cassie's dad is Bonnie Bro. Yeah, at this point, with what we've seen with FNAF VR 2, I feel like there's no denying at this point. So, now, moving on to our first non-game we'll be ranking. The Silver Eyes, the first one, not the whole trilogy, just the first one. I never read the Silver Eyes book, but I did read the whole graphic novel. I've read the whole graphic novel of the Silver Eyes, and it wasn't bad. It's not bad. It wasn't bad. If it didn't have the Five Nights at Freddy's theme stuck onto it, I would not have cared for it. The fact that I like it as much as I do because of the fact that it's Five Nights at Freddy's. So with that in mind, and with that in mind, I would put it in B tier. I don't know. I may move it to A tier. I don't know though, cause it's a book. Let's be honest. And how does a book compare to a game in this day and age? Let's be honest. But one thing the Silver Eyes has, the Silver Eyes was whenever we got introduced to William Afton. William Afton first appeared in a book, and it was the Silver Eyes. And it's easy to forget that, like, we didn't know who William Afton was. In FNAF 2 and FNAF 3, we didn't know his name. He was just the purple guy. Now, he has a name. Silver Eyes gives him a name. I'm not a fan of how the Silver Eyes makes Henry and William look practically identical in terms of, like, their physique and, like, how they look. Both of them are just stereotypical, like, white brown haired dudes. And I mean, I can say that because I myself am, white brown hair. But I mean, like, come on. That's one thing I do appreciate. The new, was it a character glossary or like a character, like a book? There was a new FNAF book that released. It was a character book, and it had a lot of, like, not right information, a lot of, like, strange stuff, like. And, like, a lot of people, like, everybody seemed to collectively just say fuck it and, like, throw it in the trash. It came out, like, a couple months ago, I think, maybe a year ago at this point. I'm not too sure, but that, like, gave, I don't know about William Afton, but it gave Henry a brand new look, like, sort of redesigned, I guess, how he looks in the game's lore. And I do like that design better than how he looks in the books. But, I mean, the book's not bad. Like, yeah, I think the TLDR of all of this is that the thing that the book really has that's good. Oh, also, the book has a plot that is very similar to the FNAF movie, where the animatronics are being manipulated by the pictures on the walls. And also it ends with the spring lock, so that's cool. Yeah, but like I said, if it wasn't FNAF, I probably would not care for it as much as I do. So I'd say B tier. I think C tier is a little harsh. Maybe we'll move it to C tier later, but I think, come on, man, come on, B tier. Let's not be too harsh on it. It was FNAF's first step into books. Yeah, character encyclopedia. Yeah, thank you, FNAF fanboy 69. Yeah, sister location deserves an F tier. That, ooh, sister location was great. Also, I don't know if I said this yet. I got Kevin. He's here. He's safe with me. Kevin is safe. Don't you worry about Kevin. Right now, I need to find a better stand for him, because I keep on having to tape him up to, like, a light, and it's not It does not work good. I need to figure out something better. Before we get into sister location, which seems to be, you guys in the chat seems to have strong opinions about sister location. Before we get to that, FNAF World. FNAF World, first released, the first update of FNAF World was very weird, and not in a good way. But update 2, of course, made everything a whole lot better. But this is just FNAF World as a whole. It's so weird that we don't even know whether or not it's canon. And that is just saying something. There's no... I don't know. FNAF World's a weird one. It's hard to list because of how different it is to compared to everything else. I don't dislike FNAF World. I do not dislike FNAF World. I think it's cool. I think it's neat. I would say it's like the black sheep of the franchise, but at this point, it's like every game's the black sheep of the franchise. So at this point, man, I'd say FNAF World B tier. It's enjoyable, but the fact that you can't really, like, at least from my experience, you can't really beat FNAF World, like, unless you have a YouTube tutorial. I know that's probably just me, probably just because I'm, like, an idiot, but, I mean, it's tough. It's tough. Not, like, hard, but I mean, like, it's confusing is what is the right word. It's confusing, and it's a lot different from the rest of the games. It's very different. That does not make it bad. That does not mean it's bad. It's just hard to compare to everything else. I feel like B tier, and I feel like better than the Silver Eyes, and that's no hate towards the Silver Eyes. Silver Eyes is good. It's just if you're comparing a video game, would you rather play a video game or read a book? And that's what that question between those two boiled down to. Sister location. Here we go, y'all. We're having some spicy opinions on sister location. I loved FNAF World. That's good. It seems like FNAF World is underrated in my opinion. Yeah, a lot of people have really began to appreciate FNAF World for what it is now, and I'm really glad. It seems I made a video about this earlier, but it seems like Click Team is starting to kind of like tease a brand new FNAF World with their little bit tease. Yeah, it seems like okay. I feel like Click Team are working on 2 new FNAF things. They've been teasing a lot of Lolbit recently, like a lot of Lolbit. One of those being Lolbit as like a shopkeeper person, and she was saying we need help, as in like the people of Click Team need help, and they need more people who can work Unreal Engine. So I feel like FNAF World is either getting a sequel or a remastered version. Probably a sequel if I had to guess. That would be an Unreal Engine. And so I feel like Click Team's probably working on a FNAF World 2 right now, if I had to guess. And oh shit, this year is the 10-year anniversary of Five Nights at Freddy's, the original game. From the looks of what Click Team has been posting as well, with some of the stuff they've been teasing, I would not be surprised if sometime soon Click Team announces a remastered version of FNAF 1, like their version of FNAF Plus, for the 10-year anniversary of Five Nights at Freddy's, the original. That's what I'm thinking about. I made a video about it if you want to check. It's like called, I don't know, I forgot what the title is. But yeah, FNAF 5, moving on. FNAF 5. Ooh, buddy, let me plug in my laptop. Plugging in, we gotta plug in all sorts of stuff. Is it not plugged in? What the hell? Excuse me, it should be plugged in. Motherfucker, you are plugged in. I don't know. Ah, there we go. There we go. Okay, now it's charging. Now it's charging. Sister location. a lot of people dislike Sister Location. I don't know why so many people dislike Sister Location. It seems like ever since it seems like a lot of people just watched Yaz video, his like hour-long video about why he hates Sister Location, and then from there, everybody just is in agreement. Oh, Sister Location sucks. Um, Personally, I watched his video. I did watch his video on why he dislikes Sister Location, and I remember after the video being like, yeah, Sister Location isn't that good. But then, like, now, looking back at it now, I don't remember why I dislike Sister Location. Like, there's not too much to dislike. There is definitely issues. There is definitely issues with Sister Location. Baby, the main face of Sister Location, Circus Baby, you literally don't like see her at all physically. You hear her all the time. She does not shut up, but you like barely see her physically. And I can see why a lot of people don't think that's good. Like don't like think that that's like a bad thing. And also I know a lot of people don't like Sister Location because of how sci-fi it is, because of the way it messed with the lore of FNAF. It really, y'all thought FNAF 4 jumped the shark. Sister Location just said, here's, oh, now we're in the future, but not really. I think I don't dislike the lore of Sister Location. At this point, I've learned to accept it. Whenever Sister Location originally came out, I didn't care for the lore in the first place, so I didn't care whether it like ruined or improved the lore. What I will say about Sister Location is that it looks a lot more like Scott's old games. I'm pretty sure the name may be Desolate Hope, if I'm not mistaken. It looks an awful lot like Scott's. Like, if you look at it and you don't know it's a FNAF game, you'd think that it looks more similar to some of Scott Cawthon's old sci-fi games instead of Five Nights at Freddy's. It definitely has that Scott Cawthon touch to it, but it also in turn doesn't really feel like the first four. And I get why it's sort of disliked. I get its lack of replayability. I get that Night 4 with the spring locks exists. That was a really cool premise, the spring lock stuff, where you have to unwind the spring lock suit. But terrible outcome, you know, like good idea, not good finish, you know? Like, it could have been cool premise, not really done too well for the spring lock part of Night 4. Also, what else? Oh yeah, I will applaud Sister Location for being the first free roam FNAF game, or the first FNAF game where you move around. Besides FNAF World, I know FNAF World you move around, but I do like how Sister Location like was like the brand new, like it was FNAF going out of its comfort zone, wanting Scott Cawthon wanting to improve from the base formula and wanting to like be different. And I respect that, and I do like it better because of that. But in the process, I think you know, I think with every mistake, or with every with every new attempt to do something new, comes lots of mistakes, and with those mistakes aren't bad, because you can always learn from those mistakes. And I think that cycle right there that I just described, I think that is sort of what Sister Location is. I don't know whether to put it in A or B. I think I'm gonna go high B. High B, the highest B, because I don't dislike it. I still really like it. It is definitely, though, one of the most flawed yet. But yeah. Um, Y'all got any thoughts about Sister Location? I really liked Funtime Freddy. I made a big ass Funtime Freddy papercraft 2 years ago. Oh, that's cool. I like Sister Location because it has Funtime Freddy. Mm-hmm. Funtime Freddy Funtime Freddy is a really good character. The fact that he sort of has like his own personality, I feel like, is like really cool. I think that's like one of the first times. Sister Location was one of the first times the in-game animatronics sort of got their own personality to them. Beforehand, it was just all about appearance in like the first 4 games, but now they started to get their own like personalities, their own characters. Yeah. So with that in mind, or moving on to the Twisted Ones book. The Twisted Ones book released soon after Sister Location, and the Twisted Ones graphic novel. Of course, again, I've never read the book, but the graphic novel was the first ever FNAF piece of media that I've read. I played the games. It was around the time, I remember it was before Security Breach released. It was like during the hype leading up to Security Breach. I read the graphic novels for the Twisted Ones, and I really enjoyed it. I read it before Silver Eyes, so I read Twisted Ones first and then Silver Eyes, and because of that, I do think I have a bit of a bias towards the Twisted Ones because it was my first time going into the book specifically, and I think it is a little bit better than Silver Eyes. Not by much, though. I think both of them are pretty even ground when it comes to the quality of them. Twisted Ones is a lot weirder. It's a lot weirder. Has sound illusion discs. Has like the twist. Yeah, all the stuff in Twisted Ones is sort of weird. It has William Afton's some surviving a spring lock, so I guess it technically got to see Springtrap. Yeah, but you know what I've been wondering this whole time is that if the first FNAF movie was very similar to the Silver Eyes and where it had the original animatronics and they were being manipulated by like the pictures, I wonder if if it is the second FNAF movie, because if the second FNAF book didn't rely on FNAF 2, is the second FNAF movie going to rely on FNAF 2, or are they going to like have their own unique animatronics like maybe the Twisted Ones? I don't know. That's still up in the air. I doubt it. I doubt it. I bet the FNAF movie 2 probably has the FNAF game 2 animatronics if I had to guess. But we'll see. We shall see. But yeah, Twisted Ones a little bit better than the Silver Eyes in my opinion, and that's just because of my like nostalgic bias for it. So I say nostalgic. It was only a couple years. It was 2021. It was 2021 whenever I read Twisted Ones. Um and yeah. So, FNAF 6. FNAF 6 Pizzeria Simulator. Pizzeria Simulator, really good in some of its cases. In some of its cases, it does the job right and it does it amazingly. Like the whole the whole simulator part of it, amazing. Really good. First time we got to like see Helpy, which you know how iconic Helpy is at this point. I think the fact that okay, so the two things I really like about FNAF 6 is of course the simulator part of it, but then also the what was it called? The lore of it. I really like the lore of Sister Location. Everybody getting rounded up for Henry to just fucking burn the shit out of everyone. I think is so badass. Henry's speech is a fucking masterpiece. It's so fucking iconic. It is, yeah, really, really good. But the only thing, there's two things. Okay, so just like there's two things I sort of dislike about Pizzeria Simulator. Oh no, fuck. Other way around. Just like how there's two things I really like about Pizzeria Simulator, there's two things I really don't like. First off, Scrap Trap. Do I need to say more? Do I need to say more? Don't get me started on Scrap Trap. There's very few things I would ever want to change about this series if I was like had the control to change it, because I've always been one for like, well, if the game creator thought it was the right thing, I've always believed in their vision of this game more than my own. But Scrap Trap is my only fucking exception. I would redesign Scrap Trap in a heartbeat. There is a reason Help Wanted 2 released and we got to see some scrapped and some mediocre melodies, and there's a reason Scrap Trap was not one we got to see in Help Wanted 2. It is because he sucks. He bad. But, in all seriousness, I really don't like Scrap Trap, not just because of the goofy design. Not just because he looks like Peanut, he got that peanut head. But also, because if you look at this, you look at FNAF 3 to Sister Location, not to FNAF 3 to FNAF 6. We know that there was a point in time there, and we see what like people like what happens to Charlie during that point in time. She gets like captured by Lefty and then brought here. We see that Scrap Baby like leaves the inner tribe and sort of like alternates herself, like manages a bit of like her parts, puts her claw on her hand, and stuff like that is cool, and it's nice, fits the whole Scrap sort of thing of the Scrap animatronics. Out of all of the designs, William Afton, the genius robot inventor, the one who out of all of those characters is the most likely to physically alternate himself and like become even more OP after possessing an animatronic. Out of all the characters to be redesigning themselves, to be reshaping themselves, and to like add extra features like how Scrap Baby adds her claw to her hand, out of all the people to not do that, William fucking Afton, the man whose job was to design cool-ass and killer animatronics. He literally designed robot child murder animatronics. And you're telling me, when in between FNAFs 3 and 6, he does absolutely nothing to alter the physical shape of his body? I think that is the most crushing part of FNAF 6, I think. I think it is really just Scrap Trap. Just Scrap Trap as a whole. I could go on a whole hour rant about why I don't like Scrap Trap. But there's one other thing that I have to say that I don't really like about Pizzeria Simulator, and that is the office segment. The office segment is not... They should have had cameras. They should have had cameras. I get it may not have worked with like the whole labyrinth aesthetic of down like underneath the pizza place where the like night or daytime parts take place, you know, or where the office parts take place. But like I feel like just that whole like you could have had cameras, man. I really think it would have benefited with cameras. I think that would have made it so much better. And instead of having you can still do the tasks, you can still do like the tasks on the computer. That's fine. I feel like you should have had cameras, because I feel like removing cameras in that case scenario, I can see why FNAF 4 didn't have cameras because it's a kid's room, but FNAF 6, for that to not have cameras, I feel like is just a major missed opportunity, especially with how detailed all of the Scrap animatronics are. I would have loved to see some renders of them on some cameras. Even if it means that the map had to be less labyrinth and maze-like, I think it would have been worth it. Just I think FNAF 6, amazing, really good, really solid game. Besides Scrap Trap, and besides the office segments of the game. But I mean, lore wise, in terms of the simulator part of the game itself, amazing, really good. So because of that, hmm, because of that, I don't know about C tier. I think that's a bit harsh. Considering the books are in B tier, I may move the books down. Should I move the books down? I don't know. You guys, I need y'all. I got a question for y'all. Should I move the books down? Wait, one time I was in a Snapchat call and nobody would listen to what I was saying, so I just said Henry's speech. That's badass. Um, will you play FNAF AR again? Thank you for asking. I plan on it eventually. Um, yeah, I may at some point in time. I will. I know I keep on taking like a month or two breaks in between each part, but no, I do actually plan on playing more of it. I've grown to like FNAF AR. Now that I've played a bit more of it. But yeah, should I move the books down to B tier or C tier is my question. I do think FNAF, just talking about FNAF 6 though, better than FNAF World. Better than okay, yeah, I gotta say it's better than Sister Location. Is it A tier though? Is it A tier? I think B tier. I'm thinking B. You know what? I don't know. Okay, I think low A tier. Low A tier. I'm going low A tier. Yeah, but I'm debating right now whether the book should be B tier or C tier. I'll let y'all know, see if any of y'all have any opinions on it. If not, that's fine, but if so, just let me know. Speaking of books, though, the Fourth Closet came out right here. The Fourth Closet is a weird one. It jumps out of all the books, it jumps the shark the most. I remember actually getting the graphic novel for the Fourth Closet, like the day it released. I don't know about the exact day, but I remember that was 2021 whenever it released. Nah. Okay, yeah, the book released after FNAF 6. I don't think the graphic novel released until like right before Security Breach. If I remember correctly. So, I did just like the rest of these, the two other ones, I got the graphic novel for Fourth Closet. I never like went out of my way to like fully read it from start to finish. I have skimmed through it a good couple times. I've gotten a good general idea of it. I know it's the one where we see all the different Charlie Emilys and all that. And it's weird. It is weird, but it is also, I feel like, on the same level as the other three. I'd say maybe a bit less. I think that's probably a good spot for it. You have the Silver Eyes was like good middle of the lane. Twisted One's a little bit better, just because of my bias for it, I guess. And then the Fourth Closet, a little bit less. But I don't know. I kind of feel bad like ranking the Fourth Closet at all because I haven't really read like I haven't really read all of it. But I mean, I don't know. I think from what I can tell, I think that's a pretty solid spot for it. The thing is with all the books have the downside of the fact that they're books. You know, if they weren't books, they some of them may be higher or lower or but the fact that they're literal books, I don't think any of them could get A or S tier. I'm thinking we have two more book series to go. Those ones, ooh, I got some strong opinions about Tales from the Pizzaplex. Okay, but yeah, water break, water break. Me plowing through this. How long have I been streaming? Let's find out. Let us find out. FNAF 6 brought in so much meme material. It did. Yeah, especially with like Helpy and with all the mini games and stuff. Oh, almost an hour. Cool. Um, yeah. Okay. So, moving on to Ultimate Custom Night. Now, Ultimate Custom Night, I like it, but at the same time, it's not really my thing, you know? I appreciate how it's sort of like an epilogue for it's sort of like an epilogue for the Afton saga, if that makes sense. You know, you can think like FNAF 1 through 6 is like sort of like the Afton saga, and like Ultimate Custom Night, that's sort of like the epilogue where William Afton's burning in hell. Um, and yeah, I think that is cool the way that is done. Uh, because like I've always felt like Ultimate Custom Night is like the perfect ending. It's like the perfect. I'm so glad. Don't get me wrong. Don't get me wrong. I'm so glad Five Nights at Freddy's is continuing and it is as big as it is. I'm so glad. But also Ultimate Custom Night, I feel like was like the perfect ending to a lot of plot points in, or like to at least the biggest plot point in the FNAF lore, which is William Afton. Um, yeah, I appreciate how the games and Ultimate Custom Night parallel the default like gameplay of the FNAF games, if that makes sense. Matt Pat pointed this out at the beginning of one of his older theories. He said, in every FNAF game, or at least in like the default, like the stereotypical idea for the gameplay of a FNAF game, is that you have five nights, one bonus night, and then like a custom night. Meanwhile, up to this point, the FNAF games, you have you have five FNAF games, one bonus FNAF game, which is Pizzeria Simulator, and then you have a custom night, Ultimate Custom Night. And so it's like the games release parallel the gameplay. I think that's cool. Nicely done. But I also like, I don't know, I do like Ultimate Custom Night. I appreciate it for what it is. Not really my kind of thing. I'm not. I don't really like the freedom that you get with it. It's cool, but it's just not. It's not my kind of thing. I'm never, out of all of the FNAF games, I'm not like, you know what? I really want to design my own and make my own Ultimate Custom Night. And I think a real reason for why I think like that is because of all the mechanics. All the different mechanics can get pretty overwhelming. And I can get why some people would enjoy Ultimate Custom Night. Not really my cup of tea. I don't know about C tier. Okay, you know what? I think I'm gonna do it. I think I am gonna go ahead and bring the books down here. Boom. 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 Okay. Good. I guess C, that's sort of middle ground ish. And yeah, I think Ultimate Custom Night. Okay, if I put FNAF World in B tier. This is a tough one, man. This is a tough one. Uh, you know what? I'm thinking high C tier. High C tier. I like I said, I don't dislike it. I respect it. I get why other people like it. Not my thing. Not my thing. Yeah. So, also with that in mind, now, or with that in mind, moving on, whatever the transition word is, now we are moving on. We have gotten through the Afton saga of the FNAF games, as I like to call the Afton saga. Now moving on to the Steel Wool Saga. I like to call this the Steel Wool Saga. I know not all of these were made by Steel Wool Studios, but I mean, it seems like just that, I don't know, that's just a good name for it, I feel like. Now moving on to the Steel Wool Saga of FNAF games, the new generation of Five Nights at Freddy's. Help Wanted. Help Wanted, I already know where this is going to go. Number one S tier. Number one S tier. I think it is even better than the original Five Nights at Freddy's. It is so, so good. It is quite literally the best parts of the first 4 FNAF games. All that plus so much more. All like compiled up into just one like masterpiece. And it was only a couple weeks ago whenever I first played it in VR. Up to this point, I've only played the console version on Xbox. So I never really, so even just the console version alone I played, and I still absolutely loved it. Now I've checked it out a little bit in actual VR. I'm waiting to do like a playthrough of it in VR, like a sort of revisited series for it. I'm planning to do that pretty time soon, or I'm planning to do that pretty soon, I think. But yeah, I remember first going into FNAF VR Help Wanted for the first time inside of my VR headset, because I was trying to prepare for Help Wanted 2, like technicality wise. I wanted to make sure like I knew what I was doing with the VR headset, so when it came to recording for Help Wanted 2. So like the day before, I loaded up Help Wanted VR on an actual VR headset for the first time, and holy shit, it was actually scary. For the first time in years, Freddy Fazbear actually scared me. I loaded up that first night 1 of the FNAF 1 minigame in Help Wanted, and I was genuinely scared, afraid of getting jump scared. And of course now that I've completed all of Help Wanted 2 in VR, at this point I'm pretty desensitized to VR horror, at least when it comes to FNAF stuff. But when at my first time loading up FNAF Help Wanted VR, it really makes you remember why this franchise was scary in the first place. And it really has that sort of atmosphere. It has this unique atmosphere to it. Just the whole game has its own unique atmosphere, which is just so fucking good. Of course, the lore is really good. You got Glitch Trap is an amazing antagonist. He's really cool premise. We still don't really know whether he's William Afton, whether he's the Mimic, which one he is. Maybe a little bit of both. Maybe he's fucking Helpy, according to MatPat. It's hard to tell at this point in time, but it's still so fucking good. It is amazing. I cannot wait to play it in actual VR. I will be doing that pretty soon. But with that high end, I also have some bad news for y'all. I have some pretty bad news. And that bad news, I like Steel Wool's. Hold on. Let me read the chat. Ultimate Custom Night was perfect ending to the Scott Cawthon. Yeah. That's a good way of putting it. I like Steel Wool's design for the animatronics in Help Wanted is great. It is really good. They did an amazing. Okay. Also, SMG3 is not here. Bonjour to you. If anybody is watching the stream right now, I also do want to say, before I forget, I made a poll. I made a community post poll a little bit ago, asking y'all what y'all think, whether y'all would want like Best of Neo Nobody 2023 or not, whether y'all want a video like that or not. So make sure to go vote on that poll if you haven't yet. I just want y'all's opinion on it, so that way like y'all aren't like, oh, he's recycling content, or if y'all do actually genuinely want to see like, oh well, it would be cool to look back, you know. Okay, but as I was saying, Curse of Dreadbear. Here's the bad news. Curse of Dreadbear. I haven't played. I'm sorry. It is the only thing on here that I'll be putting in haven't played. And I'm sorry about that. I'm sorry. I know. I've seen Matt Pat's GT lives, but also I don't want to like say, "Oh, well, I watched those videos, so now I'm good enough to rank it." I don't want to be like that, you know? So I'm just gonna put it in haven't played. I'm sure, from what I can tell, I'm sure it's really good. It seems just like Help Wanted plus more, which is really cool. Um, right now it's on sale on Steam, and I'm probably gonna get it really soon. I'm probably gonna try to get it really soon since it's on sale. Um, if you already have the first Help Wanted, I think usually it's $10. Now it's like $6 or $4. So if you haven't gotten Curse of Dreadbear, but if you have the original Help Wanted, now's a pretty good time. I'm pretty sure it ends January 4th, if I'm not mistaken. I've been looking on that recently. I've been really eyeing it. You know, I'm thinking, it's about time. It's about time I get it so I can finally rank it. But until then, it is on the haven't played tier, and that is it. Can y'all hear the ads? I see there's ads on the side. Is the ads interrupting y'all? No, it's not. It's not interrupting y'all. Okay. Thane Empire. Hopefully I said your name right. Hello. Hello to you. Yeah, Curse of Dreadbear, haven't played. I'm sorry. I want to play it. I want to play it eventually, but it's not on Xbox, and that's the reason why. Because I just recently got the original Help Wanted for Steam so I could like connect to the Oculus and play with an actual VR headset. But until then, but until then I've just been playing Help Wanted on the console version on the Xbox, and Curse of Dreadbear never came to Xbox. That's why I've never played it, but I'll be playing it soon. Pretty soon. Yeah. Special delivery, FNAF AR. Some of you guys actually really like it when I play FNAF AR, and I really appreciate that, and I'm glad. I'm glad I can entertain y'all. But yeah, I do plan on playing more FNAF AR. For anybody who is wondering, I know I know like each part is like a month or two away. Like I keep on waiting even longer to play this game. That's not intentional. I just like forget about it. But no, I plan on playing it pretty soon, eventually. I enjoy it. At first, whenever I first got it, like years ago, like 2021, I didn't really care for it. It wasn't really my cup of tea. wasn't my thing, and mainly because it was confusing and I didn't know like what it was really, and I didn't know like how to play it. But now that I've done a couple of videos on the game, sort of revisiting it, I can say that I've enjoyed it. I have definitely enjoyed my time with FNAF AR. Is it S tier? No. Is it A tier? No. Is it B tier? I think so. I think so. It's pretty good. Pretty good. Good enough for me to revisit it every couple months or so, you know? I think that's good. It was definitely new to see a FNAF game with the mobile treatment, with the microtransactions, with all that sort of stuff. It is sad that it got abandoned the way it did. In terms of lore, it doesn't really have much lore. It doesn't really have like barely any lore importance. I forgot to talk about lore for Dreadbear, but I mean, I wasn't gonna rank it anywhere though because I haven't played it. But the lore of Dreadbear was pretty good with the Fall Fest and all. I like the Fall Fest premise. Okay, but no, for FNAF AR, it had a little bit of lore with like the emails and Vanessa emails and all that, and like I guess okay, fine, I guess. It has Liberty Chica actually. You know what? Because it has Liberty Chica, S tier. S tier #1 obviously. Liberty Chica, Liberty obviously S tier. No, but in all seriousness, I would really like to see a brand new FNAF game that takes place in a factory, and we'd get to see all those extra animatronics from FNAF AR that like got a random skin or something, and they would all just be on like conveyor belts or some shit, like ready to be like dropped off. But then it's like you're the night guard, of course, because you're always the night guard in FNAF. And then like the animatronics, all the different skins from FNAF AR would attack you because they're in like a factory. I think it's been far too long without a FNAF game that takes place in a factory. I would really want to see a FNAF factory game. It's like fucking Mine Nights at Freddy's. Have any of y'all seen the Mine Nights at Freddy's with Caveman Films and Ant Venom, where it's like they're like this like the second season they did of FNAF is is like the factory, like even like what they did was really cool, and I'd like to see some form of that in the actual FNAF, some sort of factory ordeal. What are your opinions to Dawko's Hex plushies? Um, I think they're cool. I think neat. They're a neat premise. The way it's like each part has like a magnet, you can like mix them up and stuff. From what I can tell, they're pretty high quality. I don't think I'd ever go out of my way to buy them. I think they're just really kind of too expensive for me to rationalize, like to spend that much money on a plushie. Uh, but I think they're cool. You know, they seem very cool. I like how each of them uh I like how each of them comes with a card. If I'm not mistaken, I think those cards and those card designs are made by Stupid Butterfly, I think is her name. Or that's her like YouTuber name, of course. And also she's cool. I remember watching her live stream of Ruin, and that was a lot of fun. Uh, but yeah, so really cool. Those hex plushies are very cool. I don't think I'd ever get one though. If I probably, at least not at the moment, you know. So moving on to the next book. This is not just going to be Into the Pit we're ranking. This right here, this image represents the entirety of the Fazbear Frights series. Into the Pit. Okay, I only read the first Fazbear Frights book. I haven't read any of the graphic novels yet. Just the first actual book of it with the Into the Pit and with the emo chick who got stuck inside of Funtime Freddy. Um, what was the other book there? There was the emo chick. There was Into the Pit. Which other story? Oh, To Be Beautiful, and it had the lengthy baby. Uh, the first book, really solid. Cool premise. I like the premise of, oh, the new games are starting to move forward in the timeline. Let's have this book series to look back in the timeline and to answer questions from the past. I think this book series is how Matt Pat concluded that Golden Freddy was possessed by both Cassidy and Crying Child. And I think that is really cool. I really like Fazbear Frights for that. I really like how it tried to solve a bit of the old FNAF lore, tried to give us more hints. As the series went on, though, got pretty damn shit. As it went on, we started seeing stuff like Fazgoo. We saw people get like turned into candy or some shit. I forgot what that one book cover was where it was like the lady made of candy. That, I don't know. Like halfway through, maybe so long to turn on that time. I'm sorry. But like at some point, there was definitely a point in time where the Fazbear Frights jumped the shark a bit too much, even in my opinion. Like we were getting And it wasn't just like, oh, it's too different. That's not why I don't like it. It's because of like some of the choices that they made. Like there were stories in here that had actual FNAF characters, that had Springtrap, because you know every book came with 4 different stories. One of them would have Springtrap or Plushtrap or something, but then the cover art would still be a completely original character that isn't from the games. It's like, come on, what's the sense in that? What is the logic in that? I feel like it really just near the end, it just ended up sort of not succeeding in what it originally set off to do. It originally set off to like answer. I think it was at its best when it was trying to answer past questions from the FNAF lore, and I just don't think it did it well. I think it could first. I don't. I love some of them. Like the first book, I love. Into the Pit is amazing. The fact that now we see a ball pit in the FNAF lore and think about some time traveling kid, I love that. I think it's hilarious. But I feel like every other book afterwards, besides a few exceptions, uh kind of went off the rails a bit. Lost its purpose, you know? And because of that, I don't know whether I should put it more than, I think C tier. Or nah, C tier. Definitely. Okay, yeah. I think right here is good. Right next to its book brethrens. Uh and holy shit, we made it to Security Breach. It is Security Breach ranking time. Whew, Security Breach. I got some big thoughts about Security Breach. You guys ready for this? I'm gonna drop the biggest bombshell on you guys yet. The biggest bombshell. Wait, but with Withered Freddy is 94. Oh, you got the Toy Freddy? That's cool. I like how they're doing like they're going by, like they're slowly making their way through all the animatronics. I think that's cool. They're not just doing it like randomly. I like that. Um okay. So, Security Breach. I am going to throw the biggest bombshell at you guys yet. Gumdrop Angel. Yes, that was it. Yeah, Gumdrop Angel. Yeah, okay, yeah. Sorry about that. Um, okay. Security Breach. Security Breach. Yes, the gameplay was very buggy. We can all agree the gameplay of Security Breach was in a huge need of improvements. But, like I said earlier, like I want to emphasize, let me emphasize again. This tier list is not ranking solely the gameplay. We're also ranking my biased opinion of it, the lore implications of it, the story, and also just the overall impact it had in the fan base. And it is pretty crazy to say this, but I genuinely believe that at this point, Glamrock Freddy is as iconic as normal Freddy. I feel like Glamrock Freddy is as much of the face of FNAF at this point as normal regular Freddy is. And I feel like this game, yes, the gameplay of it, like yes, the actual gameplay itself may have been lacking in terms of quality, but I think there is so much more that makes up for it. Like the hype leading up to Security Breach, the hype alone that FNAF got leading up to Security Breach and after Security Breach is literally enough to automatically give it S tier. I feel like the story and the lore, there is so much lore. There is more lore in Security Breach than we have yet to get in almost any other game, besides maybe FNAF 4. But there is so much, like, of everything. Like, Security Breach essentially gets all plot points, all everything in the lore, and just shoves it all together into one single game. Like, where everything was heading currently all went up to Security Breach. And I really like it because of that. I really like the atmosphere and the tone of Security Breach. It is very colorful, not not horror at all whatsoever. But let's be honest, if it even if it was horror, it would not have been scary. I mean, it's Freddy Fazbear. At this point, Freddy Fazbear, unless if he's in VR, he cannot be scary to me. So even if they did try to make it horror-ish, I don't think it would have really worked out anyways. Um, Although I do get why people don't like that. And I do admit that I would prefer if there was a little bit of blood, you know? Come on. I mean, come on. Just there's not a single speck of blood in the whole game. Let's get the blood. Give me the blood and guts. Come on. But with that in mind though, still like the literal like Security Breach is a big reason of why people love FNAF as much as they do, especially now. Like Security Breach got so many, it essentially reawakened, not only reawakened like the indie genre as a whole, like indie horror genre as a whole, but it also like brought up so many other YouTubers. Security Breach is what got me to like FNAF, because like my story, like my whole life, I've been like vaguely following FNAF. I've been a very, very casual fan. I was too scared to play the main games myself, but I'd still like it would still be a sort of guilty pleasure of mine to watch a game theory or two, or to watch. I was a big fan of the Minecraft Five Nights at Freddy's related stuff. And so yeah, uh, so FNAF has always been a part of my life in some shape or form, even if it was to a very low extent. But Security Breach is what really brought it up high for me. It's really the hype to Security Breach is really what got me onto that FNAF train. Believe it or not, if y'all have seen my FNAF ripoffs video, this is one thing I kind of forgot to mention. Willy's Wonderland got me into Five Nights at Freddy's. As crazy as that sounds, I watched Willy's Wonderland, and then after that, I was like, you know what? I want to give Five Nights at Freddy's a try. And I did, and then that's whenever I became like a big FNAF fan. 2021, I believe, is that year. I believe it was 2021 whenever I saw Willy's Wonderland, watched it for the first time. Then from there, I was like, I really liked Willy's Wonderland. Let me give FNAF a try. And that was also whenever the hype of Security Breach began to start, and so then that all kind of flowed and like kind of like crossovered like to make just one big just sort of hype train for this game. And even though a lot of people sort of think it was underwhelming, it was so fucking good. It's so at this point it's like even sort of nostalgic, to be honest. I mean, it's 2024. It's been like 3 years since 2021. Maybe 2-ish years technically, because we just got into 2024, but still. Um, it's crazy. It's crazy that I'm actually sort of nostalgic for Five Nights at Freddy's Security Breach. I don't know. There's just so much to this game to love. It sort of reawakened the FNAF franchise and sort of like made it like brought it back into popularity like into the media, and I love it for that. I really do love this game for that. Also, two big plot points, two big things that a lot of people forget to say whenever they talk about Security Breach. Number one, humans. This was the first time we've seen a human in the lore. And it's easy to forget that. It's easy to forget. But I remember seeing the trailer for Security Breach whenever that released. And we saw the human designs, and I was like, I don't know, man. It took me a little bit to get used to them, because FNAF has always been a game where you didn't know how realistic it was. It purposely avoided physically showing human designs, so that way you could still picture all the humans as, you know, real life looking like because it avoided seeing physical humans like for so long, you could kind of like, with how the animatronics looked, you could kind of pass this off as, oh, maybe the humans look realistic, or you could kind of come up with your own human designs. But Security Breach was the first time we were like, no, here is the human character. Here's how the humans look in this universe. And that was very risky. Very risky move. I think it ended up coming off well. It reminds me of those old Gary's mod and those old FNAF animation human models with Michael Afton and stuff. And I like that. I like that about it. I appreciate if they did try to base it off of that. I appreciate it, and I do like it. That, and also, first time a FNAF game was legitimately free roam. Besides FNAF World, it was legitimate free roam, and I think that is a big bonus. Huge, huge bonus. I love exploring the Pizzaplex, just going into Security Breach, even to this day. Maybe I think like 2 days ago, I even like went on to Security Breach on my Xbox, just explored, just tried to like learn a little bit more of the layout, just for fun. And I've always been a big fan of sandbox games like that. I've always been a huge fan of those sort of sandbox games. In terms of the lore for Security Breach, wait, I got a question. What was the song you used for the transition to Willy's Wonderland from Banana Splits? Whenever in the Ripoffs video, whenever it showed like the Willy's Wonderland logo and Nicolas Cage was like dancing in the background in that song, you mean? Do you mean that song? If so, that song was it was a Think Noodles song. Think Noodles, the YouTuber, it's called, oh, I'm trying to remember. Uh it was like a Minecraft parody he did. If you look up Think Noodles Minecraft love song or something like that, or Minecraft song, it should pop up. Uh, it wasn't. He has like two Minecraft songs. One of them is really stupid and it's hilarious. Everything is Bloxam. It's not that one. It was the other one. It was the other one. I can look it up right now, real quick, real quick. This is bothering me. I think Noodles Minecraft song. Whenever it showed the Willy's Wonderland logo on my video and that song, it was called Sometimes. It says Minecraft song Sometimes Minecraft parody animation by Think Noodles, if that is what you're talking about. The one when it showed the Banana Splits clip and it showed like the Banana Splits logos and like it was the transition into the Banana Splits, that was a CG5 song, I believe. Okay, but yeah. So in terms of the lore for Security Breach, Security Breach was really good. Like I said, a lot of lore. The main lore, what I mainly like about Security Breach, is the way it ends off the Afton family saga. Gregory, at this point, most of us can agree Gregory is a robot version of the Crying Child. I mean, some people still don't like the idea, but come on. Come on. There's at least no doubt that Glamrock Freddy is possessed by Michael Afton. A lot of people don't like the idea that Vanessa is a robot version of Elizabeth Afton. Personally, that's what I believe, but I understand why people don't like that idea, and I understand why you wouldn't want to believe that, but at the very least, you got to admit that Vanessa, as a character, parallels Elizabeth Afton. And the way, assuming the Princess Quest ending is the canon one, now that we've played Ruin, it seems like this game, Security Breach, was paralleling FNAF 4, but like sort of turning it on its head. FNAF 4 was about the animatronics haunting and giving nightmares to the Crying Child. Now this is, Security Breach is in a way the Crying Child's revenge. It's Gregory, a robot version of the Crying Child, or at the very least, a kid representative of the Crying Child, destroying those animatronics that parallel the animatronics that used to scare the Crying Child. And I think that's a nice little send-off to the Crying Child's character. As for as I was saying with the Princess Quest ending, where it shows Vanessa, Freddy, and Gregory up on a hill. I think I love that how that sort of ties together the Afton siblings story. Now the Afton siblings can finally be together again. Maybe, but whether robots or whether possessing animatronics or not, at least the three of them are back together, back being siblings, being a family again. And I love that fact about it. I love the way Security Breach puts a close onto the Afton siblings story, and it just does so much right. Yes, it does a couple things really, really wrong, but it does so much right. And because of it, I'm thinking S tier. I'm thinking better than FNAF 4 just because of the quantity, the amount of stuff there is, versus FNAF 4 where it sort of gets a bit repetitive. But I'm thinking Security Breach right there. I think S tier. I get why you would disagree. But just putting my bias in mind, I'm thinking S tier. But then, moving on from S tier, we're moving on F tier. F tier, automatically F tier. Tales from the Pizzaplex. One giant load of horsecock. One giant load of bullshit. Such a cool premise. An amazing, amazing premise. It's, the Pizzaplex setting allows for so much stories, allows for so much lore. There's so much nuance. There's so much just to happen because, like, I would have been so mad if they underutilized the Pizzaplex setting because of how big and how ambitious of a setting that is. That's one of the big highlights of Security Breach, the Pizzaplex itself. There's so much room for so much more stories around the Pizzaplex. And I feel like Tales from the Pizzaplex should have been, here's some extra side stories. Maybe here's an Easter egg here, an Easter egg there. Here's a couple stories taking place in the Pizzaplex as some extra bonus content to, in a way, sort of milk this very big and ambitious setting that we have. But no, most of these fucking shit stories don't even have shit to do with the Pizzaplex, and it pisses me off so much. It is complete bullshit. It is such a waste of a book series. Such a waste. The premise. It's literally at the very least. At the very least, don't call it Tales from the Pizzaplex. The fact that it could have been so much better, and that the Tales from the Pizzaplex original premise is such a good premise. It's like, let's have little lore bits here and let's explore more of the setting of the Pizzaplex and what it has to offer. But the fact, like, it was such badly executed, such poorly executed. It's like just like how the Fazbear Frights jumped the shark, except the Tales from the Pizzaplex jumped the shark before the first book even released. It's like it continued. It like jumped even more sharks than Fazbear Frights, but it only did that before the release of the actual books. So all of the Tales from the Pizzaplex books, yes, some of them have a shit ton of actual lore behind them. You have one of the most recent ones with the nightmare gas and the FNAF 4 implications. But even with that in mind, what the fuck? What happened to Tales from the Pizzaplex? Where is the fucking Pizzaplex in this book series? The fact that it was such a good premise, but it just came out so terribly, it's just I don't know. It's not good. It did not end up well. It could have been so much better, and that makes its like downfall even more sad. Downfall is a harsh word, but I don't know how else to say it. What I do want to mention, and what I do sort of appreciate, is how just like the Silver Eyes name dropped William Afton, and then that's how we knew Purple Guy was William Afton. I like how Tales from the Pizzaplex name dropped the Mimic, and now the Mimic's like the new big bad of the lore. And I appreciate the parallel with the Mimic and William Afton and how both their names were first introduced in the books and then they got moved on to the games. That's cool. I don't think it means the books are canon. I don't think the Tales from the Pizzaplex books are canon to the game's lore. Just because of they both have the Mimic. I feel like it still only like parallels it, just like Fazbear Frights. Um, yeah, because I know a lot of people saw the Mimic in Ruin and were just immediately like, "Oh, books are canon." William Afton's also in the Silver Eyes, but you don't see that one's canon. I don't. Okay, but yeah. So, if there are more FNAF movie ripoffs, will you do a FNAF movie ripoffs part 2? I would, if there was enough. If there was more than just one, because I know movies in general take a long time to make and to be made, and if in these next couple months or next year, just so happen to be like another 4 FNAF movie ripoffs, then yeah, I'd be down. But and maybe instead I'll like opt for FNAF fan-made movies or fan-made films. Might be a really cool premise, especially with the random encounters. I could do a video about that maybe. Uh, yeah. Before Chazington does it. Before Chazington does the video. So now we have these 3 left. These 3 characters left, or not, these 3 pieces of media left. By the way, that was not hate towards Chazington. I love Chazington. Let me make sure that's clear. I do not hate Chazington. He is a amazing YouTuber. I love his videos so much. There's very obvious inspiration that I've been taking with his videos recently. But yeah, okay. Now we're down to the 2023 lineup of FNAF media. The Ruin, the DLC, the game, the movie, and the game that just released. And I have some really strong thoughts about all 3 of these. But before we do get into that, I'm gonna make some more coffee. So I will be right back really quickly. Won't take me even a couple seconds. In the meantime, if y'all do want, I have a poll up. I said this earlier in the stream. I have a poll up about like whether or not I should make a 2023 New Year's like best of Neo Nobody. If you want to see that, or if you don't want to see it, either way, let me know and vote on that poll. Okay, but yeah, now I'm going to get more coffee. So the coffee is being made right now, and afterwards it's gonna need to be heated up, or no, it's gonna need to cool down. Is the can I wear my hair down? Eh. The coffee is going to need to be what's it called? It's gonna need to shit. What's it called? Cool off. Cool off. So let me fix my hair. My hair has been not good lately. Not good. You know what? I'm just going like this. Ugh. There we go. There we go. Fix the hair problem. No more hair. No more hair. Just forehead. Okay. Now let's go ahead and continue ranking these. Sorry about the wait. I'd like to see best of 2023. Alrighty. I'm thinking I may do it. Let me check how the poll is doing, actually. Now that you mention it. My phone is charged. So only one person has said no, it's just recycled content. So I may end up doing it. Yeah, I may end up doing it. Okay. Thank you guys for waiting. Now let us go into Ruin. Okay. So the thing is about Ruin. Do not get me started on Ruin. I okay. Let me say first off, I love Ruin. I love Ruin, and there is a reason. There is a very specific reason I love Ruin. Me and Ruin, we go back. Me and FNAF Ruin have a bit of a history with each other. Let me explain something. Let me tell you a story before I rank Ruin. So, Ruin came out this July or last July, whatever July is called. July of this latest summer is when Ruin came out. And that whole summer, the June and like maybe the month before even, I was losing interest in Five Nights at Freddy's. I did not care for it's been like a year. Yeah, at the time it'd been like a good year or two since we've had any new game release. And like the FNAF, the Tales from the Pizzaplex books were releasing, and I wasn't a fan of those, and I was starting to lose interest in FNAF as a whole. I was starting to forget why I liked this franchise in the first place, which is crazy that it got to that point, but it did get to that point. And I remember whenever I did like the first FNAF AR video, that's around the same time when all this happened, I didn't care much for FNAF anymore. I wasn't as big of a fan as I had been, mainly just because of like just because of how long it was, like a whole year of me so into FNAF with zero new content besides books, but I was still like on that hype train. I was like, yeah, here we go, Five Nights at Freddy's. And then eventually I just got tired. I got tired of it. And there was no new games, meaning there was like no new lore besides the Tales from the Pizzaplex, but I didn't even like the Tales from the Pizzaplex. So, I was starting to lose interest in Five Nights at Freddy's. I was watching a lot of anime. I watched so much good anime that summer. So many good animes. Oof. Kamega Kill, Mushoku Tensei, all the good shits. All the good shits that summer. I went through a little bit of a anime like binge, and it was amazing. That was really cool. That was really good. But then that meant that Ruin came out. Ruin was coming out. I remember it released at like 3 a.m. or some shit. And leading up to Ruin, I was like, man, I don't really know how much I care for this game. I just need to play it because I'm a FNAF YouTuber. And so like I made like the first part of Ruin, and I began playing it. And I saw the sort of sci-fi-ish tech it had with the Vanny mask in the AR world and all that. And I was like, I don't really like this. You know, and it got to the point where I was even wondering, I was like, you know what? How can I have this channel steer away from FNAF? It was getting to that point. It was crazy. I was questioning my loyalty to this franchise. But here's the tonal shift of the story. All of a sudden, I started playing more of the game. I started playing it more and more and more. And I went from not liking, or like I went from sort of forgetting why I liked FNAF in the first place. And then all of a sudden, Ruin just fucking punches me straight in the face. It says, you forget why you love this franchise? Here, let me remind you real fucking quick. Bam! And it fucking slapped me like a motherfucker. And all of a sudden, I remembered why this franchise is so good. I remembered why I like it so much. I loved the story of Ruin, us playing as Cassie, going down under and seeing like the mimic and shit, and also the theories about who's Cassie's dad is. At the time, it was even before Help Wanted 2 released, a lot of people were thinking that Cassie's dad was Bonnie Bro, and I loved it. I loved it so much. FNAF FNAF Ruin single-handedly re-sparked the fire that I have, the passion that I have for Five Nights at Freddy's. It said, "Oh yeah, you don't like this series no more? Think again, motherfucker." Boom. Now it's your favorite series again. As I was saying, before my before my headset, as I was before my headset turned off. As I was saying, Ruin. Yeah, it was just the whole story. The mimic I felt like was an amazing brand new villain. Cassie, I felt so sorry for her. Like the fact that like Gregory is like her only friend, and then even then she gets like abandoned. Well, we think Gregory abandoned her, or like also I'm a big believer in the fact that like the mimic probably took over the elevator at the end, and it wasn't Gregory that betrayed her. But like the fact that she still thinks in her mind that she was betrayed by Gregory at the end with the elevator falling is just so fucking sad. And it just hit me. It hit me and it got to me, man. In a game where so many kids die to the point where most of the characters you meet are already dead by the time you meet their character. It really makes you appreciate the time you get to spend while the characters are actually human. One thing FNAF has ever done was get me like sort of emotionally attached to the characters, because half of them are already fucking dead by the time you like play the game. They're already dead. But one thing I do love about Steelwool and what they've been doing with the franchise recently, and what I think shines the best in Ruin, is the fact that we get human characters. We get to see the characters be humans first, be living first before they meet their demise. And I think that the fact that we got to play as like characters, like I think Cassie's a good example of that. The fact that we got to play as Cassie and spend like some time with her in Ruin before she get like falls in the elevator, whether she's dead or not, it makes you like actually like feel sorrow for her, feel like sadness, uh, which is something you don't, or for me at least, I don't really feel for like the missing kids and stuff, because it's like, well, they're already dead. We never really got to meet those characters, you know? And yeah, I think that really just all of that, it just makes me really love Ruin. And honestly, because of it, I think Ruin is like my number one of number ones. Like I know that's ballsy to say. I know that's definitely not like agreed on with the community, but I love Ruin. Ruin, like it's so fucking good. It is so good in my opinion. I love what it did. I love the lore behind it, and that the whole thing about like me not really liking FNAF beforehand, but then playing Ruin kind of helped me like get back into my like FNAF hype train. I think I think it is for me and for my biased opinion deserving of the highest of S tiers. And also Ruin is the first ever time I played a FNAF game or FNAF DLC, whatever you want to call it, um, without watching another YouTuber's playthrough. This like my reactions whenever I'm playing through Ruin are all fully genuine, because I didn't watch Daco's playthrough. Security Breach, I couldn't play it because I didn't have a powerful enough computer at the time. And before Security Breach, like I wasn't really a FNAF much of a FNAF fan by the time all these other FNAF games came out. Um, so Ruin was the first time I played a FNAF thing for myself, and then after I was done playing it is when I went to watch other people play it. And so that was also a cool, fun, and like new experience for me as well. Leading us to the FNAF movie. But first off, let's answer a bit of the chat. Uh, would you make a video about FNAF papercraft community? I don't think I know what the papercraft community is. Could you like elaborate on that? I'm not too sure what exactly like that is. I'm I'm sorry. But also, my coffee is probably done by now. Let me go get my coffee. Be right back. Then it's FNAF movie time. We're talking about the FNAF movie. Okay, I got my coffee. I got the coffee, and here we go. Ugh. Thank you guys so much for tuning in to the stream and watching up to this point. Oh fuck. Um. Yeah. Let me fix my hair. Uh. I still don't know what to do with my hair. I'm still rocking the forehead, rocking just the forehead. Okay. Um. So moving on. But yeah, thank y'all for watching the stream. I don't know if how often I say this, if I just sound like a broken record at this point, but I know I'm not Matt Pat. I'm not a big Markiplier. I'm not one of those top shots hot FNAF YouTuber people, but I really appreciate y'all's support. Thank y'all. Okay, moving on to the FNAF movie. The Five Nights at Freddy's movie is my favorite movie ever made. That is not an exaggeration. I love this movie so much. Never have I walked out of the theater and never have I once walked out of a theater as excited as I did my first time watching this movie. I was so hyped and I was like so into this movie that the whole time it literally felt like a fever dream. Like I literally I had to like rewatch it the next day like on Peacock because I forgot what order most events happened because it's all just a giant it literally felt like a fever dream watching this movie for the first time. Seeing all these things on the big screen, all the animatronics, all the humans, seeing William Afton, seeing the Springlock, hearing the Living Tombstone song, it was literally perfect. I know, oh my god, the cameos. The fucking cameos were so good. Matt Pat. I was literally, it took all of me not to, scream out and cheer whenever I saw Matt Pat. I remember my audience did cheer during one scene, and it was whenever William Afton said, "I always come back." And we all fucking cheered. And I heard one of the people in the theater go, "Oh shit, that's his catchphrase!" And that was so fucking cool. That was so good, man. I'm just getting excited just talking about it. I love the FNAF movie so damn much. It is the best, ever. Oh, just the name drop. Whenever Vanessa fucking name drops William Afton it's amazing. It's amazing. It is it's literally the best movie ever made. I love it so much. I know Markiplier didn't get a cameo in it, but I think that's a good thing. Now that I watched Matt Pat's behind the scenes video and seeing that Markiplier would have been the opening scene, I'm glad that he didn't have a cameo. As I was saying, I am glad that Markiplier wasn't in it, and let me explain. I'm glad that they're saving him for the sequel because if Markiplier was the opening kill scene in the movie, if Markiplier was the first thing you saw when the movie began, I would not have been able to take the rest of the movie seriously. So I'm kind of glad that he ended up not being the the opening scene, you know? Um yeah. But I can't wait to see him in the sequel. At this point, come on, Markiplier, he's got to be in the sequel. But no, I know a lot of people from what I can tell, a lot of people say if you're a FNAF fan, the FNAF movie's a 10 out of 10. If you're not a FNAF fan, it's an 8 out of 10. Or if you're looking at it objectively, it's an 8 out of 10. Because, it doesn't really seem like there's not much to it. And also it doesn't really seem that inviting for newcomers. But to that, I know, a lot of people think that that's a bad thing, that it's not inviting to newcomers, that you can't know nothing about FNAF before going into this. But at the same time, like, look at me. I'm like a huge FNAF nerd. I could care less what people who aren't FNAF fans think of this movie. This movie was made. Fuck me. Um, this movie was made solely for FNAF fans, and I love it. Yeah, some people are like think that's a bad thing, that it's sort of uninviting to like new fans, but yeah, it's like I said, as a FNAF fan myself, I could care less about the non-FNAF fans. Like this movie was a movie made for me. It was made for all of us FNAF fans, and I think Scott Cawthon and Blumhouse and all the actors, all the behind the scenes people did a phenomenal job at it. They did such a good job. I've said this before and I'll say it again. Of course, I'm really biased. No shit, I'm really biased about it. The movie could have been William Afton taking a shit for 2 hours, and I would have still loved it just as much, but I don't care. It is going S tier. Is it better than Ruin? That's the question. That's honestly, that's how much I like Ruin and this movie. I don't know which one to put in the front of S tier. It's so fucking good. Just talking about it, the fact that it's like, I don't know, seeing all them on the big screen was such a big thing. I'm thinking, fuck, hold on. I want to say some other things about it first. I want to say that, that I, okay, yeah. One thing I was like thinking about whenever I was like making this tier list, and I was thinking about like what's my opinion on the FNAF movie. It's interesting. The thing is for me is that like the FNAF movie, I may have already said this. I kind of forgot whether I not or not I already said this. The FNAF movie, my favorite part of the FNAF movie is the human characters. I loved William Afton, loved Mike Schmidt. Abby was amazing, and so was what's her name? Aunt's the aunt, the evil aunt, and of course Doug. You know, come on, man, Doug. For Doug, come on, buddy, come on. I'm thinking head of S tier. Come on, head of S tier. This movie was 8 years in the making, and it was worth every single year. It was so amazing. Getting to show this movie gave me an opportunity to show my friends and family like Five Nights at Freddy's, because like of course like you know I'm in like in my to my friends and family, I'm just sort of known as the guy who likes FNAF a little bit too much. And in their defense, that is probably true, but like this movie gave me an opportunity to be like, hey, this is FNAF. This is what I love so much. I showed it. I watched it the day it released, Thursday night, the earliest I could get it in my theaters. Thursday night, I went to watch it. That Friday, the next day, I watched it with my dad. Day after that, I watched it with two of my really good friends. Day after that, I did not watch it again because that was it? No, day after that, I may have went to see it. Oh shit. Oh no, I'm forgetting. God damn it, I'm forgetting. I don't know. Then like later that week, I went to see it with my mom, and later that week, I went to see it with my grandma and my cousin, and I showed everybody this movie. Everybody, all my friends and family. Like this movie gave me an opportunity to show them why I love this franchise as much as I do. And of course, they didn't get as much out of it as I did. But anytime I showed like one of them this movie, they were all like, I can see why the fans like it. I can see why it was made for the fans. And yeah, that's not really a good thing, but also it sort of is a good thing, you know, because if it was trying to be inviting to newcomers, okay, let's be honest. When after FNAF 1, when has FNAF ever been inviting to newcomers? It's never. The FNAF movie is no different. It's no different from the games in terms of not being inviting to newcomers, but it was still really cool. And I'm so happy it's doing as well as it did in the box office and all that sort of stuff with all the statistics and all that. I'm pretty sure it's like the highest grossing horror movie ever since the coronavirus. The coronavirus, the horror movie. No, not in that sense, but I mean, every horror movie that came out after the pandemic, this one is like the highest grossing out of all of them. It is like Blumhouse's like #1 film of all time or something along those lines, and I could not be happier. I'm so glad and I'm so thankful, and I cannot wait for the FNAF movie 2 whenever that comes out. It was just amazing. I could go on and on about the FNAF movie. At this point, I think y'all could tell that. But yeah. Another thing, one time I explained the FNAF lore to my grandma. Hey, man. Hey. At this point, whoever can listen, whoever's willing to listen, it should listen. Like, yeah, I'm not gonna put my grandma through that torture, but props to you. Grandmas are in fact the best. Um, People in the FNAF community make paper crafts. Most time they aren't from English-speaking countries without official FNAF stuff. That is interesting. That is really interesting, actually. I will definitely have to look into that. One time I explained, Lord, my God, she did not call the police. Yeah, that could have ended badly. Okay. Okay. Whew. Last thing of the night. Thank you guys for tuning in. We've been streaming for 2 hours by now. Last thing of the night. Help Wanted 2. Help Wanted 2. I recently played through Help Wanted 2 on my channel, and I remember like some moments were so fucking good that I literally like screamed. Like I was like literally freaking out. Like I don't know. And yeah, some of like there's so many good moments in Help Wanted 2. Like whenever you're taking off the Vanny mask for the first time. Oh my god, my heart like fucking sank. And like I was like so fucking terrified and so fucking happy at the same time taking off the Vanny mask. Like and at first it didn't process to me. I was like, "Oh, here's Princess Quest." And I like didn't see. I was like Markiplier with his latest playthrough. I didn't see the like inhibitor thing from Ruin. It took a bit to like process. I was like, "Oh shit." And then I realized I was like, "No fucking way." And it fucking hit me. And the moment it hit me, I like got fucking goosebumps and shit. And I was just like, "Holy shit. I'm going to remove this and I'm going to be wearing the Vanny mask." And sure enough, that's what happened. And just talking about it right now, honestly, is giving me goosebumps. Like, right now, it is insane. And the ending, where it's revealed, like, you know, we're playing as Cassie's dad, and we get, we like, possess the staff bot. We possess mask bot, not staff. So, yeah, this is the ending, both endings. The one where Vanny's like lingering over you, and the other where the staff, where like you turn into the staff bot is, it's just so good. It was so fucking good. You ask me, you tell me December 2023, and it's like Christmas. What? Never heard of Christmas, huh? No. FNAF Help 1 and 2. That's what I remember from December. Christmas. What? Huh? Um, but no, man. So, of course, this may change over time. This may be because of how biased I am, because of how new it is. But Help Wanted 2 was such a good game. My first experience with VR as well. This was like my first experience with VR. Um, and it was a lot of fun. Some of those mini games were stressful, but none of them were so stressful to where it makes me actively dislike the game, you know? None of them were that bad. None of them were like sister location FNAF 4 amounts of bad. Um But yeah, it was such a good game. Um, shit. What else? What else? In terms of like the lore, obviously when we're playing as Cassie's dad and we're doing all the shits and all that, that was a lot of fun. I really appreciate how Help Wanted 2 kind of goes back in the timeline. We've been going forward in the timeline a lot lately, and I really like that Help Wanted 2 takes a step back, takes a bit of a breather, and it's like, okay, y'all may have this theory about Cassie's dad. Now let's just focus on this one piece of the lore. Let's focus on this one section of the current lore, and let's just build it up. Let's expand upon it a little bit. And I really like that they did that, and that they chose that route with the lore instead of just being here's even more into the future. Boom, FNAF Matrix. You know, uh, shit, man. Yeah. So, if y'all have seen some of my reactions to some of the scenes that happen in this game, it's like it's crazy. Not F tier. Not F tier. Um, I'm thinking. It also it was really high quality. You could tell Steelwool Studios has improved a bit from their first Help Wanted. So yeah, I'm thinking S tier. I don't know whether it was better than Ruin or not. Ruin has that extra bonus of the whole story about me not liking, like me not really being into FNAF, but then Ruin like reigniting my passion for it. So I think because the Ruin has that extra umph, I think Help Wanted Two's good right there. And yeah. And with that in mind, that is the full official tier. That is my personal tier list about about FNAF. I feel kind of bad having Ultimate Custom Night down here. I mean, mm, yeah, okay, no, it's fine. It's fine down there. C tier is not a bad tier. The only bad tiers here are D and F, and nothing's in D. Only only F. um, yeah. Should I remove? Okay, no, it's C tier. Maybe, maybe. Okay, I don't know. I don't know. Maybe I should move in. Maybe I should move Fazbear Frights to C. No, it doesn't deserve C. It doesn't. No, I mean it doesn't deserve D. Okay, no, it's fine in C. It's since it's in the lower part of C. I think it's fine. It's fine in C. But yeah, that is it. That is my thoughts, my personal thoughts of every FNAF game and where I rank them in this tier list, what I think of all of them, not just the FNAF games, also the movie, also the books, everything. Not the Troll games, because I've only played one of the Troll games, and it was the recent the one with the FNAF movie, Freddy in Space 3, Chica in Space. If I did have to rank that one, maybe like C tier. I mean, obviously it was just a troll, so. Um, but yeah, I think that's it for now. I can't wait to see what FNAF has store in the future. I can't wait to see what happens like after Ruin, because like we still don't. Help Wanted 2 is a prequel. We still don't know, is Cassie alive? Did the mimic escape? Like come on, what's happening? My thoughts. I feel like there's a good chance we're getting Help Wanted DLC 2. I hope we're getting a second DLC. I would love to see a second DLC for Help Wanted. I think they really should do that. I really hope they make a second DLC. Um, I don't think they're gonna do the thing where Cassie's like under the control of the mimic, because that seems too straightforward. You know, FNAF has never been one to be straightforward. I feel like I don't think they're gonna have Cassie be like the Vanny, just like how Vanny is to Glitch Trap. I don't think they're gonna make Cassie to the mimic how Vanny is to Glitch Trap. Um, I feel like that's not only would that like a little bit repetitive, but also it's like they kind of already did that. So I feel like we're probably gonna get. I hope at least that we get a second Security Breach DLC. Um, what else? What else? What else? Cause okay. Cause also I saw in like, was it? I think in like the code of the game there was like an alternate ending where Gregory says just make sure you aren't followed, or just make sure you're not followed, and that was like originally supposed to be the ending or something before it's like, oh, then the end. So so maybe like they just want to stretch it out for one extra DLC, and then they'll have like the Cassie escape or something. Oh, who knows? Who knows? At this point, it is hard. There's no telling. Lefty Fazbear, how's it going, buddy? Can you live stream ranking FNAF characters? I already did that a while back. It was a little bit ago. How long ago was that? I believe it was shit. Let me go to my past live streams. It was, wait, fuck, did I? No, I remember I did. Okay, no, 3 months ago I did that. Um, yes, yes. Um, but yeah, that is my official rankings. I don't think I need to change anything. Of course, I'll be moving this at one point or another once I finally start playing the Curse of Dreadbear. I think I'm gonna get it in these next couple of days while it's on sale in Steam. Um, but yeah, one more notice, if you haven't already. Make sure to vote on the community page, on the community poll, for if you'd like to see a Best of Neo Nobody 2023 or not. Yeah. And I think that's it. Is there anything? I'm trying to think. Is there anything else I need to say? No. I'm pretty safe. I'm pretty comfortable with how this turned out. With how, does AR really deserve to be in front of Sister Location? I think AR should be right there. I think right there is good. I think Sister Location high B, cause I don't know. I feel like because of the lore, because there's more lore in Sister Location than there is in AR. So yeah, okay, yeah. So I'm changing that. But besides that, I'm pretty happy with how this turned out. Thank you guys for tuning in. Thank y'all for watching. 4 people watching. That is pretty cool. Thank you guys for taking the time out of your nights to watch little old me. Yeah, I hope you guys all have a good New Year's and have a nice 2024. It's great, man. Is this year? It's the 10-year anniversary of the first FNAF. FNAF will, by technicality, be classified as a retro game, which is pretty crazy to think about. I don't think that should be right. I think retro. I don't think that should mean 10 years, but it does. Yeah. So, with that in mind, I think that's it. I think that's it. So yeah, thank you guys for tuning in. If you are not subscribed, maybe check out some of my other content. See if you would. My headset turned off again. I think that's a sign. It's time. It's time to end the stream. Thank you guys for watching, and I shall see y'all in the next video. It'll probably be a little bit till my next stream, since I did 2 streams recently. I'm looking forward to doing more VR content now that I have that headset and stuff that I got for Help Wanted 2. So that, and also like with the fun commentary videos like I've been doing, I've been seeing a lot of people liking that, especially the rip-offs video that reached 100,000 views. That's insane. I'm so happy you guys really liked that video. But yeah, thank you guys for watching, and I shall see y'all in the next video, or the next stream, whatever. Bye bye. Happy 2024.